What if you could print a house? And I don't mean a picture of a house on a piece of paper, I mean a real, livable home. You know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but it might just be the most practical answer to one of the biggest challenges facing the world today. Let's dive in.
Take a look at this number, 1 billion. That's the estimated number of people around the world who don't have adequate housing. 1 in every 8 people on the planet. I mean, it's a number so big, it's hard to even wrap your head around it, and a problem that big demands a radically new way of thinking.
And this quote from Brett Hagler, the founder of the nonprofit News Story, really just brings it all into focus. It's not just a statistic, right? It's about one of the most fundamental human needs there is, safe shelter. And it's going unmet on a truly massive scale.
So yeah, we're not just talking about a small problem. We are facing a full-blown global housing crisis. The way we've always built things, with traditional construction, it's often just too slow, way too expensive, and creates too much waste to even begin to keep up with the demand.
But what if we could completely change that equation? What if we could build faster, cheaper, and better? Well, that is the incredible promise of 3D printing, a technology that's rapidly moving from making little plastic toys to building entire communities.
The moment this all felt real for a lot of people was back in 2018. At the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas, a company called Icon printed a house, on site, in the middle of high winds and rain. And that's when everyone realized, whoa, okay, this isn't just a lab experiment anymore, this is the real deal.
And here's why people got so excited. Just look at the sheer speed. Icon printed that first house in under 48 hours, and they think they can get that down to as little as 12. Now compare that to the weeks, or even months, it takes for traditional construction. This isn't just a small improvement, it's a complete paradigm shift. It changes the entire economic model from being all about labor to being all about technology.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, picture a massive robotic printer. It's often what's called a gantry system, kind of like a giant overhead crane that a printhead moves along. And it just extrudes this specialized concrete-like mix, layer by layer by layer, until the walls of the house are standing right there in front of you.
All that incredible speed, it translates directly into major savings. That nonprofit News Story said their typical affordable homes cost around $6,500. With 3D printing, their goal is to get that price tag under $4,000. For communities that need these homes the most, that difference is absolutely life-changing.
So how exactly do you go from a file on a computer to a physical home you can walk into? Well, the process is this really fascinating mix of digital design and pure robotic construction.
Okay, so it all starts with a digital design, a CAD model of the house. Then, software slices that model into thousands of super thin digital layers. That becomes the step-by-step instructions for the printer. A special mortar mix gets whipped up, and then the robot gets to work, just extruding the material and building the structure one layer at a time. But as with any game-changing technology, there's a big gap between the incredible promise and the reality on the ground. It's not quite as simple as just pressing print and walking away. Now, the promise is enormous. We've talked about the speed and the cost, but it's also way more sustainable. You get a lot less construction waste. And this is cool, it gives architects incredible design freedom. They're no longer stuck with just straight lines. You can design it on a computer, no matter how curvy or complex, you can probably print it. Okay, but on the flip side, you have the reality. The printers themselves cost a fortune up front. There are limitations to the materials you can use, and you need highly skilled people to run it all. And then there's the red tape. I mean, imagine trying to get a building permit for a house built by a robot when all the rules were written for hammers and nails. These are some pretty big hurdles to clear.
And that material challenge is a really big deal.
Just look at this breakdown. Over half of the materials being used in construction printing are still cement-based. So while new, greener materials are being developed, our current reliance on concrete is a major roadblock on the path to a truly green building revolution.
So if the printers we have now, the ones stuck on the ground, have all these limitations, what's next? Well, this is where the future of this tech gets truly mind-bending. Researchers are literally looking to the sky.
Ask yourself this question. What if you could untether the printer from the ground completely? What if your construction crew was a whole fleet of autonomous flying robots?
This is the concept of aerial 3D printing. The idea is to use a method called chunking. You take a big architectural model and you break it into smaller, manageable pieces, or chunks. Then, each chunk is assigned to a drone, and the entire fleet works together, printing their sections in midair, almost like a swarm of robotic bees building a hive. And the ultimate vision here is just breathtaking. It's about having fleets of these builder drones that can be deployed anywhere in the world. Think about it. Building emergency shelters in a single day after a natural disaster. Constructing infrastructure in remote mountains or harsh deserts. This technology could go where traditional construction simply can't.
And that brings us to a final, fascinating question. The challenges today are very real, for sure, but the pace of innovation is staggering. Looking ahead, you really have to wonder, are we witnessing the beginning of the end for construction as we know it? Will the homes of tomorrow be built, or will they be printed?